Hello, welcome to Skye Sweaty Record Review, episode 53 or 54, I don't know. It's the only new music review show hosted by a French professor immediately after getting off the elliptical at the YMCA. You'll notice I'm in my car again. My kids are probably playing video games and waiting for me to make them pancakes. So I'm going to record this in the car. I just got off the elliptical, and it's going to have a really sort of intimate feel because I'm in the car and I'm super close to the camera, which really works well with this album. Old Sea Brigade is the name of the artist. It's just some guy like Ben Kramer, I think I saw his name was. It's just one guy, and his band is called Old Sea Brigade, and the album is called Ode to a Friend. And I want to start quickly off by telling you my initial thoughts, which sent me down a sort of rabbit hole of remembrance, and points to why I may never be a real music critic. You see, in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was in LA with my buddy Ted. We were down like at the Museum of Modern Art, somewhere around there. And he goes, "Hey, look, that's Elliott Smith." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that was it. And within a year, he killed himself, and pretty much all the time, almost 3 times a year, I'll tell that story to people who love Elliott Smith. And I always feel bad because I didn't really care. I didn't really care then, I don't really care now. I never really got into Elliott Smith, unlike virtually all of my friends and anybody who knows anything about music, anybody with any musical literacy of my generation, of my demographic, loves Elliott Smith. But I never did. And so I've thought about that a lot over the years, and I've realized the double vocals, it's just too intimate for me. Just having the guy in your headphones, just, I just could never quite handle it. Now, Old Sea Brigade is not an Elliott Smith clone, but the first track, has that double tracking on it. So that's what got me thinking about that. And it put me in this mode to actually be open to liking this album. Because once I put it in there, it's like, okay, Skye, you generally don't like albums that are too intimate. You like intimacy, you like emotional honesty, but albums that are too much right there, it's not quite what you like. So I accepted that. And by the end of the album, I actually ended up liking it a lot. Because unlike when I was in high school listening to Elliott Smith for the first time, I opened myself, I tried to stay flexible to accept that whoever the hell this guy is, he's going to put his thoughts and feelings into my ears, and I just have to live with it. Fortunately, for the most part, it was a good album. I would say there's two good styles and one bad style on this album, and I'll give you one song of each. Well, there's a song called Resistance, which is funny because of my resistance to the album, but the track after that is called Hope. And at the very beginning, you hear the creak of a chair as he leans in to play his acoustic guitar. And I heard that, and I was like, oh, Resistance. I get it, buddy. You're so authentic. You couldn't even stop to like edit out that creak. Oh, you're so real. So that was my Resistance. But it's a great song. It's just a guitar and singing, a little bit like synthesizers for texture, which he does a lot, like kind of like a bed of synthesizer sound. But really nice lyrics. He has a lyric, wake me up in 5, I'll take the dog out, you stay inside. It's very personal to me. I've lived that experience a fair number of times. It's all about like wanting to die with hope, which is a nice theme, a nice song. Jeez, the lighting on this video is terrible. Look at the backlit. Oh, who cares? You're watching my show, which means you don't care about production value. So the song Hope, it really won me over by the end because it has what this guy does well, which is very solid folk songwriting. Apparently the genre is indie folk, which just means folk that isn't popular, right? I mean, what else does folk indie mean? And then another song that I really liked a lot, probably my favorite on the album, this gets the Skye stamp, is called Want It Again. And this is where he adds production to just a guy with a guitar, which is nice. It breaks up maybe that's what makes it indie, breaks up the monotony of a folk album. So there's like a nice mixture of like real instruments like the guitar and like an intentionally cheesy drum machine. So that kind of vapor wavy drum machine, like Phil Collins sounding drums, those are all over the album. And that's a really nice mixture with the acoustic guitar and the the Phil Collins drum machine. It's really quite nice. Again, the lyrics are strong. I would say where the album goes bad, and this is an example of the bad side of this album, is a song called Straight Through the Sun, which isn't terrible, but his vocals get really Bruce-like, you know, Bruce Springsteen, a little bit like a performative earnestness as opposed to a genuine earnestness. And I like Bruce Springsteen, but he's always performing how earnest he is. I rarely feel that he actually is as honest as, I don't know, as people who love him feel. But I like Bruce. Don't hate me on the comments, or hate me on the comments. Go ahead. But then mixed in with that is like the production style I just described gets too muddled. Like there's real drums and then drum machines come in and there's all these little keyboard sounds and it's just too much. I think when he's at his best, it's when he's either completely simple or just a little garnish to it. If I had to give this a 3-word review, I would say it's earnest, folk, nice, earnest folk. Jeez, it sounds like I'm describing someone. Oh, he's nice, earnest folk. But that's what I would say it is. And if that's something that you like, I would say give it a listen. It's very different than the last album I reviewed, heavy metal. I'm trying to diversify here. So there you go, Old Sea Brigade. I do not believe they have any relationship to the British indie rock band British Sea Power, but both funny that they have to do with the sea. I think he lives in Nashville. No ocean there. No big deal. All right. So until next time, I am cold in my car. I have to go make pancakes, and there's the camera.